Hello, I am Mehta Shamul Haq, and this is the ninth lecture in the subject of research methodology and thesis writing. The topic for today is data and variables. The outline of today's lecture: data and variables. We will be defining data and variable, and we will also make sure the differentiation between these two terms. Then we will move on to types of variables, and the lecture will be concluded on data sets and data tables. Data is basically information about the population, because being a social researcher, we want to get information about the population in order to understand certain phenomena, and it can be defined as facts and statistics collected together for reference or analysis. Reference may be because of some statement we want to prove or disprove, while getting the data and then doing the analysis, we want to interpret our results being a researcher. However, data are often discussed in terms of variable. This information we need in specified form, and that specified form is variable. So any characteristic that varies from one member of a population to another is called variable. For example, height, income, gender, education. In order to differentiate between variables and constants, as we now know that variables are properties of objects that can take on different values, whereas a constant is a number that doesn't change its value in a given situation. For example, that we want to know about the effect of certain methodologies on teaching and student performance. So the classroom remains constant. Now different methodologies of teaching and maybe different students are exposed to such teaching and methodologies. So teaching or teachers or number of students are variable, whereas classroom remains constant. Similarly, why we are taking classroom as a constant? Because knowledge is not confined to boundaries, but in order to isolate oneself, in order to focus, we need a classroom for teacher and students interaction. Otherwise we can sit in open air and we can but that may affect the student or teacher ability of being remain focused. Now if we move on to the types of variables, so on basis of data we can define variable into numerical variable and categorical variables. So variables to which a number is assigned as a quantitative values are called numerical variable, whereas categorical variable can be defined by the classes. For example, if we make education level classes, so what is the level of education in a certain population? For example, illiterate, primary, having primary education, middle, high school, and so on. So person are classified on basis of some categories, or the respondents are being classified into certain classes. And then we can have discrete and continuous variable. Discrete variable can take a form of whole number, where continuous variable can not only form a whole number but also fraction of the number. For example, height, weight. So what's your weight in kg? Maybe it is 60.5 kg. Maybe another person weight is 80.2 kg. So these are the examples of continuous variable. Whereas if we look into gender, for example male and female, so it will take a discrete discrete value or whole number, for example 0 for male and 1 for female. Similarly, marital status, married and unmarried, and you can assign a number to it. And being a social researcher, we are interested in the effects of independent variable on dependent variables. The dependent variable is the outcome of the study, whereas the independent variables are the factors that can affect the outcome of the study. Independent variables can be manipulated by the researcher and it is in the control of the researcher, whereas dependent variables or variables are not under the control of the researcher. And we are interested that how independent variable can affect the dependent variable. And after knowing about data, variable, types of variables, we move on to data sets and data tables. Data for a group of variable for a collection of person, that is a data set. The collection of person that you collected the information of respondents from population, that is your data set. Now from the data set you have to make a data table in order to analyze or in order to rank your collected information. So in order to make a data table, the column are spared for variable, whereas row will represent rows will represent respondents. So with one column for each variable and one row for each person. So this is called the data table. This is a typical data table. I assign is 1. So if you look into first column, so there are observations, and then the second and then third column and so forth we have variable. For example, age is a variable, and then body mass index is a variable, and in the last this is the question, and in this case this is the dependent variable. But to know about what is the question and how it is being categorized in from 1 to 5, so this is the definition for variable that we presented in table 1. Age, this is measured in years. Body mass index, so this is the formula that how we can measure body mass index. And then we have the notation and denotation for the each and every variable. For example, gender, so for female 1 is assigned and 0 for male is being assigned. And the question or outcome in for example of the table 1 is, compared to other, what is your satisfaction rating of National Practitioner Data Bank, that how much a person is satisfied from rating of the National Practitioner data. So satisfaction is being categorized into 5 categories: 1 for very satisfied, 2 somewhat, 3 neutral, not satisfied, not dissatisfied, 4 somewhat dissatisfied, and last dissatisfied. So if you look into the first respondent, the answer to question is 1, so it means that person is very satisfied. Similarly, if you look into the second respondent, 2, he assigned 2 to the question, so it means that person is somewhat satisfied. These are the references from where I prepare these slides, and I share this book, The Foundation of Social Research by Michael Crotty. So these are the references for today's lecture. Thank you very much. If you have any question, please write and upload to KCMS.